Glen, Beck.
The Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome to the program, Mr. Oliver Stone. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Is this Jeff?
This is Glen.
Oh, Glen.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. You can call me Jeff.
Too many people at once.
I'll call you Bill. How are you?
No, Oliver's fine.
Right.
I'm fine, and I'm good. And
all right.
I'm in New York.
Okay. Now, so Oliver, do you? Because this is a really dicey thing. Because I think there's a billion things we really strongly disagree with you on.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And you know, I saw Snowden, and I will tell you that I wanted to believe his side, but you made the movie. And so I don't know. I mean, you do, and one thing I do respect you on is you at least say what your agenda is. So how is somebody like me or somebody in my audience supposed to take Snowden, knowing that you have a very strong opinion on America? And
well, Jeff, I'm sorry. Glenn, I'm sorry.
Right. Okay, I got it.
Beyond embarrassing, but listen, I have a strong agenda as a citizen. But when I do my work, I take it very seriously, as you do, and I'm a dramatist. I am a dramatist above all. I tell the story. This is a story that speaks for itself. I spoke to him many times, but I also spoke to other people, and we got as realistic a story as we could out of it. There may be new things that come out, but this is as authentic as you can get it, because not many people have written about the NSA or the CIA from the inside.
Well, as you know, I mean, we have gone up with whistleblowers and gone up against this government with whistleblowers.
Yeah,
and,
I admire that.
Well, thank you. And it is not an easy thing. And we have been very torn on Snowden. I think personally, if he hadn't have gone to Russia, he would be viewed as a hero. But because he went to Russia, it puts it into question. And his relationship with Julian Assange, who is also getting, Russian secret police, protection.
Yeah, you're jumping to conclusions there. Keep in mind that Snowden went to Russia on his way for asylum in Ecuador via Cuba. He had to get there, and the airspace allowed him to do that. He did not stay in Russia out of his own volition. His passport was canceled by the State Department in midair, which is rare and happens. They wanted him perhaps to be stuck in Russia. I don't know. But anyway, he's there, and they have given him asylum, and they're one of the few countries in the world that could actually protect him.
Yeah, that is true. How do you feel about Russia and Putin?
That's another. That's next year's movie. Let's deal with the.
I mean, because honestly, Oliver, we are probably one of the shows. I don't know how many people have done this. I mean, I know one show lately. One show was for him to be in prison, and now that he's against, or now he's for, taking out Hillary Clinton. Oh, let's give him a parade. We still don't know. We tend to feel that he is a patriot. However, there is that Russia connection that makes it.
I can understand your concern, but look, there's two central truths here. One is that our government deployed and developed the most massive surveillance system, global, we've ever seen in history. And the second truth is that there was a person who revealed it. A person who has tremendous patriotism and conviction that we were breaking the Constitution, and by doing this, so that was the facts of that movie of what stands. The Russia element is a distraction used by Democrats, Republicans. You can be a libertarian and still support Snowden in this matter.
Closely,
I am a libertarian.
How closely did you stick to the actual story? Did you take a lot of liberties for dramatization?
It's about 9 years in his life, and you can't do that perhaps as a documentary. But we're out for a large audience, and we made a dramatic thriller. That was always my fear, that this thing's going to get too technically heavy, because it is complicated.
Yeah,
we threw out about 50% of our research, but kept this film simple as possible, but put the tension in. Don't alter the truth, and stick to it. Stick to what the propulsion of the story carries itself. You don't have to invent anything.
So but here is where the Oliver Stone movie making comes in. Did you have to make the guys from the CIA like the spookiest guys ever?
No, they weren't. I disagree. I think that the fellow who plays the senior NSA and CIA official, he's played by Reese Ifans, is actually a father figure because he nurtured his career. And, he does say things
in a really
like,
creepy father, yes.
Well, that's what you think, but, he has his views, and he talks about the mission that they have to protect the world. He talks about global intelligence. He talks about the need for it. He talks about America's position in the world. At one point, he even criticizes the Iraq War as a waste of energy and time. And he says you don't have to be a patriot to disagree with your politicians.
So how can you? I'm trying to. I mean, this is just such a complex thing because your involvement.
Well, you keep putting it back on me, but
well, because you made the movie, and so you are a very good filmmaker, and so your films are very, very effective, and what interests me here is that here we are supposedly on the same side of saying, hey, the government cannot do these things, the Constitution, and yet you are a guy that will, hang out with some of the worst dictators.
Well, here we're talking about the American system, and that system was deeply violated by the NSA. I think you'll admit that.
Yes, I do.
And we're trying to come to terms with it, but we don't know a lot, so we have to start somewhere by talking about these issues, by bringing some awareness to the American people who have left in the dark. They haven't trusted us with that information.
Are you surprised, and in talking to him, how surprised is he that America didn't go crazy when they found out the truth?
On the contrary, he said that before. He said, my greatest fear was that it would drift into indifference. And that's how turnkey tyranny will happen, because the steps will be taken away from us, all the freedoms will be taken away from us, the civil liberties, and then one day we'll simply be a passive Orwellian population, and there will be a new guy come along, a woman, who may be completely different and play a harder ball game if he or she faces pressure.
Are you concerned about the man or the woman that are currently...
Absolutely. Everyone should be. I mean, we're living in a world of great privilege in this country. We have tremendous consumerism is a religion, but this can all be, destroyed by this overreaching that we're doing in the NSA, as well as, we're listening on everybody, and there's the whole other element you haven't discussed yet about what Snowden revealed was about cyber warfare. Cyber warfare element is extremely dangerous. It was us that presented it, that it presented the program that used it first on an offensive capability in 2007 in Iran. And since then, it's gotten out of control. Snowden described it as a surveillance free-for-all. Nobody knows who's doing what, because it takes months and months and months to unwind these things and find out. So crazy accusations go out there.
I will tell you, we're very concerned, and it doesn't seem like very many people are, that we are in a cyber war right now.
Yes.
That's what's happening. World War III, I believe, is already happening. It's just happening with digits at this point.
There's some truth to what you say, but it's not necessarily a war with Russia. It's a war with all hackers in every country. If you remember, cyber warfare, you remember when the atomic bomb got dropped in 1945, Truman told Oppenheimer back then, we're going to keep this a secret, and Oppenheimer scoffed at it. He said, you can't keep this a secret. Same is true of cyber warfare. We started a new form of warfare. We're very good at it. We have spent a huge fortune on it. And we need a treaty, is what I did. To cut to the quick here, we need a treaty, a cyber treaty, with the rest of the world. Very important.
The one scene where he first sees the Arabic woman coming in and undressing, and he's very uncomfortable. One of the guys from the CIA or NSA comes in and hacks in to her phone or her iPad, and he's just watching her undress, and he's very uncomfortable. I don't think people really understand as they put their iPhone, next to their bed to charge at night, and they're, doing what they do at night in bed. Nobody understands that.
The program was described as Optic Nerve, which it was. That was a British program. It was about, the NSA has more than 150 programs. I mean, the depth of this stuff is even beyond that. We showed that as an obvious example. Snowden is a bit of a prude, and certainly he didn't want to go there, but they have the pornographic abilities beyond, to use to discredit their enemies. Now, they used it on the Muslim population of the United States. They passed the raw intelligence. This is outrageous, and it pissed off Snowden. They passed the raw intelligence that they were getting while he was in Hawaii to the Israeli Mossad. So imagine, what they can do with that with all the Arab relatives of the people who live in the Middle East close to Israel. It's misused. It's an overreach and an arrogance about people's lives. It's disgusting.
Oliver, if you make a movie about a historic event that, is decades and decades ago, you have a long time for essentially to marinate in perspective and look back and see the full picture of that. What's the difference between doing something like that and something like Snowden, which is really, you're making a movie about an event that is still going on today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Obama has presided over the worst excesses of the surveillance age. I mean, he's taken the Bush program, which was illegal in the first place, and he's doubled down. Yeah. And that was part of the story. We're telling him that you see very clearly the Obama path. You see Snowden believing that Obama is going to reform that system in 2008 when he's elected, and by 2013 when he released those secrets, he's given up hope that Obama will do anything.
When you see all of this going on and America not paying attention, what do you think is going to happen when we watch this movie? Are we just going to take it as a movie and move on with our lives?
As I said earlier, I don't have an agenda. I'm not an activist that way, although you may think I am. I really think it's presented to you as a movie. Enjoy it. It's a tense movie. It's a thriller. You walk out, you make your own conclusions, or you might just think about it some more and start to do a little more research, because there's a lot to be done.
Yeah, there is. Oliver Stone, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
God bless. You bet. Bye-bye.